Today I have some very exciting news for you. Ooh, I'm excited. Look at that, yay! I put the machine together wrong. This is definitely the most amount of yardage that we've done so far. What is this called? I got a yarn winder. I know. If you've seen my previous yarn organization videos, I have, I think, 3 of them. One at our last place where we lived, and then one here. I had yet to get a yarn winder. I even had a comment saying, please tell me you've gotten a yarn ball winder at this point. I was gifted this electric automatic yarn winder from CAYDO, and I am so excited to use it. I'm going to take you guys through step by step, unboxing it, reading the directions, figuring out how to use this thing, assembling it, all of the things. You will experience it as I experience it. I also have a discount code for you guys where you can save 30% if this is something that you're interested in. I'm super excited about this new toy, and honestly, I've been wanting one forever. Even though I do think that you can certainly wind your yarn into balls and you do not have to have a yarn ball winder. The first time I organized my yarn, everything that didn't still have the sleeve on it, I wound it up into balls and arranged it by color and weight. I really love that. I love to be able to see my yarn. It looked beautiful. The only thing that was difficult is it did fall out every once in a while, so if you needed something at the back of the bin, it really kind of was difficult to get to it just because the rest of it would kind of fall out. Then this time around, as you can see, I've put everything that's not in sleeves pretty much either in these bins or behind these here that have sleeves. So I'll continue to keep the ones that are in sleeves or already caked up. These are already caked up from the yarn shop where I bought them. So I'll continue to keep those yarns out, but I'm super excited to now be able to have these other yarns displayed because of course if they're in cakes, they display much better. They do not fall as easily, and so I cannot wait to get started on this. Even though this product was gifted to me and I so appreciate it, thank you so much, CAYDO. I certainly want to give my honest opinion so that you guys can see what this yarn winder is all about. It's going to be so much fun, and I hope you guys get as excited as I do about yarn. Oh my goodness, you guys, how cute is this little cake? How stinking cute. Another thing I want to do is add all of my stash yarn to the stash feature on Ravelry. I've really been trying to get more organized on Ravelry and use some of the features that they offer. So I have never put my yarn in stash, but I think it'll be a great way to organize everything and just have it in my mind. I'll know how much I have. Let's go ahead and unbox this thing and get started. I believe this yarn ball winder attaches to a table, and so I'm hoping that it will attach here on my desk, but we will find out. If not, I'll figure out a place that it will attach to. It might also attach to these cubes here, so I'll keep you posted on that. Let's go ahead and open it. Let's go ahead and go through this instruction booklet. I'll show you guys the pages in this so that you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. But let's go ahead and see how to set this thing up. So it looks like we've got the yarn guide here and then the connection bar. It's got 3 screws, so that comes in here along with the screwdriver. We've got the power cable, and then we've got the winder base, and then this is the winder body. You've got your installation steps on the next page. Okay, so it says to use 2 screws. So we're going to assemble part A and part B, which is the yarn guide right here, and then the connection bar. We're going to install those using the screws and also the screwdriver that's right here. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Move you guys a little bit closer. It actually comes with 4 screws, so you have an extra, or 5 screws actually, so I think you'll have an extra. Grab this. It looks like we're going to set it like this. This is what the picture looks like, and then here are the 2 holes. So that's where we're gonna set up the connection bar. It looks like it's gonna be placed this way. So we're gonna do this right here. There's little pegs that you kind of stick that into. So we're gonna put the screws right here. Oh, okay. I don't think I had these lined up properly. There we go. Now I've got it lined up with the holes. This will work much better now. Okay, easy peasy. Let's see, let's get the other one in there. All right. It does have this little piece here you can see. And so it does line up well. Here are the 2 screws. And then this little piece kind of holds it in place. There's the first step. Okay, so it says insert part B into part D, then secure it in place with 1 screw. So part D is the winder base here. So part C is this connection bar. So right here is where it says to insert part B. It's a little more setting it on top of it than inserting it. Oh my goodness, you guys. I was editing this video and realized that I put the machine together wrong. I don't know how I missed this, and I even like double checked when I was putting it together, but today I was like, maybe it really does go in all the way. And so I looked back at the instructions, and I promised that I thought that I had looked over the instructions again to make sure that it looked the same. But you know how like in your mind something is one way and then later on you figure out that it's not. But I did promise that I would bring you guys along for this whole journey. So here we are, and I am realizing right now that I did not put it together correctly. So I thought that the yarn guide was kind of loose as I was figuring out this whole process in the beginning. It is a little bit loose, but overall I don't think it affected the yarn very much, or I didn't think that it did. And so I just thought that maybe it needed a little bit of give. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the deal was. But today, for some reason, I realized that it actually is not incorrectly. And the instruction says to put the connection bar into the winder base. And for some reason, I felt like it couldn't go in. I tried to make it go in a couple of times and it just seemed like it wouldn't. And so I thought, oh, maybe it just rests right here on top. So we are just going to set that on top. But I tried again and it does go in there. So now we are going to wind all of this yarn. Of course, I've already wound several cakes of yarn and I really love the machine. It's looking so good. I'm super excited, but I can only imagine how much better it's going to work. Oh my goodness, my cat, hold on. So now I'm hoping that with it being installed correctly, it will work even better, and maybe even on those acrylic yarns that I had a little bit of trouble with, just the slippery ones. This has happened several times to where the cake starts forming here, but then it goes above it. So I'm not sure if it's this particular type of yarn. It does say that it doesn't work for some acrylic yarns. So let's go ahead and do this the right way. So it's this part right here, the connection bar, that actually goes inside the winder base. That is what we are going to be fixing. That's why it was loose. That's why the screw didn't fit. There is a hole there, obviously, but for some reason I just thought that that's where it went. So let's go ahead and take it off. I really thought that I had tried to put it in here because there is a slot for you to put it in there, but I don't know. I just didn't try hard enough apparently. So let's go ahead and stick this in here. You're gonna stick it all the way in. So the bent part of the connection bar will just rest on top, and it clearly looks like where the screw should go. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's okay because we are doing this together. I'm just gonna tighten that, and now it does not move. So it is very secure, not moving, and you know what? I bet this is gonna work so much better. So the next part is to screw part E onto part D. That's the winder body onto the winder base. So let's go ahead and do that. I think that is gonna be pretty self-explanatory. Oh wow, yeah, that only took a second. It doesn't seem like it clicks or anything, it just screws right on there. So the next part is clamping the device. Secure the device to your desktop by clamping it down and tightening the clamp. We're gonna try it right here on the desk where I have a little kind of cubby spot. This is the clamp right here. It looks pretty self-explanatory. It's facing this direction, so I may have to move some of my stuff here. We'll see. It's just got one of these clamps here that's super easy. Seems pretty secure, but let's just do it a little bit more just in case. Okay, we've got that secured. So this is the yarn that I'm going to be starting with. It is We Are Knitters the Cotton. It's probably like a DK weight, I would say. Maybe worsted, light worsted. This is what we're gonna start with and just see how it goes. It says to thread the yarn through the lowest hole in the yarn guide, and this right here is the lowest hole on the yarn guide. So we're going to go up through this hole right here. It's a little frayed on the end, but okay, so we've got that. The next step is to lift up the spring and feed the yarn through the groove in the middle. That's gonna be this. Oh, you can do it with this. Oh, nice. At first I didn't know about this plastic part. So this plastic part right here will move the spring. As you move the spring back, there's a little slot here where you can go under here. Still a little frayed. You know, I'm gonna trim this. All right. So as you can see, it is now behind this spring here, and there's a little groove for it to go in. So we've got that part down. Continue threading the yarn through the holes in the grooves. So we've got this other hole here and then a groove right here. We're going to lift up this spring right here, and then it will go through there and then onto this other side. As you can see, there are some just right here on the other side. So it's just the same on each side. So we're going to go up through, lift the spring and go through there, and then through this other side here. There's a little groove for you to put your yarn through. So we're going to do that and then go through the other side. The yarn comes up through here. It went behind this spring and then up this way through this groove, behind this spring right here, and then back through this. So we are now over here on this side. It says adjust the direction of the yarn winder so it's facing toward the right front from your perspective. So we've got the yarn guide over here on the left, and on my right is the yarn winder. It also has a gray indicator line, and your yarn is going to go below this gray indicator line. It says to wrap the yarn counterclockwise around the cylindrical winder shaft, keeping the yarn below the gray indicator line. I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit closer so you can see. We've got the yarn guide here, and then the yarn is coming right here, and we're going to go underneath. Just be careful that it doesn't get caught on all this stuff, because it definitely can. So it's coming from underneath, and then we are going to go counterclockwise. And it does show you the direction of the yarn in the booklet. I went underneath the bottom and over the top. And then it says to follow the illustration and wrap it 2 turns below the line. So we're going to wrap it, and it looks like it's coming below it. Instead of going above it right here where you would cross over the top, you're going to go underneath is what it looks like. And then we're going to wrap 2 times. So that's 1, and then 1 more. And it does look like that in the picture. Your tail is coming out here from underneath. After the 2 turns, tuck the end of the yarn into the slot at the end of the winder shaft. So that is this right here. So you're gonna need a long enough string here to come back around to the top. It does pull this a little bit. Let's go ahead and make sure we have enough. So we're gonna come back around, and then there's a little slot here on top that it will rest in. It says to gently pull the yarn out of the bottom of the yarn guide to ensure it is taut, which it is. And it says making sure that the yarn coil is below the gray indicator line. So we've got the gray indicator line right here, and it is below that. And then it says to plug in the power cord and then slowly turn the knob to the right to start the machine. It does look like you're going to have an adapter. It does not come with an adapter. Let's go ahead and use the same type of yarn that we used on the first try, just to make it exactly the same. Y'all, it's looking so good. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Look how beautiful this cake looks. No trouble at all, no trial and error, no nothing. It just works so well. So I'm so excited to now have it put together correctly. So there aren't any specific instructions. I'm just going to take it out and then just slide it off. Oh my goodness, you guys, look how cute. It looks so pretty, doesn't it? Let's pull you closer. All right, so here we've got the center pull. I had to put a little bit of that back in because, you know, that extra that I had at the bottom. So we'll tuck that back in, and then this is the center pull right here, and it just comes out nicely. Look at that, yay! I'm so excited. It is so pretty. I'm going to do almost all of my balls of yarn, unless there's just not a whole lot there. But this is just such a nicer way to store it. It's going to stack really nicely, so one on top of the other. It's going to look so neat and organized. I'm so excited about that. This is a cotton yarn. I'm going to try a wool yarn. I'm also going to try different weights. So this is probably a light worsted or a DK. I'm going to try a bulky and then a super bulky as well. I am about to cake up this bulky weight yarn. This is acrylic, so this is Bernat Forever Fleece. This has happened several times to where the cake starts forming here, but then it goes above it. So I'm not sure if it's this particular type of yarn. It does say that it doesn't work for some acrylic yarns. So that's what I think happened with the acrylic yarn. We're gonna try that next. That's gonna be the real test. we have the Blanket Bernat Forever Fleece yarn that I tried to use before, but it just didn't work really well. It was really slippery. And like I mentioned, it does say that in the booklet that some acrylic stretchy or slippery yarns don't work very well. But I have a feeling that it's going to work this time just because it is now put together correctly. This one I definitely made sure it was taut. Okay, here we go. Yep, just as I expected, it's working really well. Not having any trouble, it's not slipping. It's amazing how when things are put together properly, they work well. Not that it didn't work well before, because it did work well, even when I put it together wrong. This is so exciting. Guys, look how giant and amazing this cake is. Look how beautiful that is. It is huge. And this yarn is super slippery, acrylic, soft yarn. And this worked fabulously, as you can see. So let's go ahead and cake up lots more yarn. I think what happened here is I have a felted piece and it got caught in there. So that's why it stopped. I felted these yarns together. So this is working great. So I have another felted piece here, so it stopped, but you can kind of feed that through still, which I really like that automatic stop so it doesn't just get crazy. Y'all, how pretty does this look? It looks so pretty. I actually reached to have like a knot here. I did not felt that piece. I probably should have. So that is a really good thing too. If you have multiple tiny balls of yarn, then you can felt them together. If they're wool or if they have animal fiber in them, you can felt them together and then they will feed through this. You just have to help it along a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this right here. Guys, look at this. How pretty is that? Oh my goodness, you guys, how cute is this little cake? How stinking cute. I did find this fingering weight from Hobby Lobby. It's a superwash that I took from Hank Form and put it in these balls. And so I think this will be a great one. I'm gonna use this for my daughter's sweater, so it's perfect because this is a fall project that I would really like to get done. So let's go ahead and see how this fingering weight does. This is Hobby Lobby hand dyed yarn. I'll be sure to put any of these yarns that I can down below if you're interested in them, but let's go ahead and see how this fingering weight does. Look how pretty this cake of yarn is looking. This is definitely the most amount of yardage that we've done so far. So let's go ahead and stop that. So about 15 minutes for this amount of yardage. How pretty is this, you guys? Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. My guess is about 450 yards. But I'll be sure to put the yardage right here. How much easier is it gonna be to have this center pull for making my daughter's sweater? I use about 3/4 of the speed. I don't use the full speed. I use about 3/4, and that's what that 15 minutes was. Of course, it'll be a lot less if you have a smaller amount of yardage, but I'm so excited about it. So I'm glad that we found this out before I finished editing and uploaded the video. I'm glad that I re-looked at the instructions. It's just one of those things that sometimes you read and looks differently to you for a second, but I'm glad that I was able to bring you guys along and show you that part of it too, because that's just trial and error and we're human and things like that happen. Everything was extremely easy to follow. Everything was extremely self-explanatory. wanted to share my final thoughts on this CAYDO electric automatic yarn winder. I am overall so thrilled with it. I'm super excited to now have this option for my yarn. It works great. It's very easy to install. A couple of the things that I would just make sure that I keep in mind is always make sure your yarn is below the indicator line, and then also to make sure that it is taut. So once you have it woven through all of the guides, you just want to make sure that it's taut, not only here at the top, but also here at the bottom. So I think that's a super important thing. You also want to make sure your yarn is very well secured here at the top, because it can slip out if it's not super secure. And I also found that the best speed for me was about 3/4 of the way to maximum speed. So you've got your plus sign here, and so it's just a little bit past the plus sign. I did find that that was the best speed for me, but I really love the automatic stop as well. I think it's a great feature. I was also really excited that I was able to feed even my yarn that had been felted together through this yarn guide here. So there are just so many great features, and I am so happy with it overall, and I cannot wait to organize my yarn. Stay tuned for part 2 of this, where we're going to organize everything into my Ravelry stash. I think I might need to get a scale for that because I need to figure out exactly how many grams I have. Definitely subscribe and hit that bell if you want to see that video, because I'll be coming out with that very soon. Thank you again, CAYDO, for sending this. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to organize my yarn this way. If you have any questions about it at all, please leave it in the comments below. I would be happy to answer anything that I can answer. And let me know if you have used this yarn winder before. Let me know what your favorite way to organize your yarn is. And if you have a favorite yarn winder, please put that down below so that everyone can see. But all in all, I am so happy and so excited to now have this new tool. It's going to be such a game changer for me, and I cannot wait to use it even more. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Bye!